is that us or is that them? I feel like.
I have no idea.
So
Well, do you want to... Can
Yeah.
you hop on the stream right now so we can check?
Yeah.
Alright.
Because usually the mic aux audio input capture, that's always it's almost always going to be some type of microphone input. So I think the only sound that's going to be going through to the stream right now is this.
Are you gonna...
I'm getting on right now. What's the channel again?
College is 9%10. Apparently my bit rate's low.
Audio sounds good.
Are any of your
Audio sounds good?
Are any of your
Can you hear
panelists
me?
talking?
Yes.
Here, can anyone just turn on their mic right now and then just talk through the Zoom call? We're just checking that things are happening.
Testing 1, 2, 3, EDC.
Can you hear? Zach was talking. Did you hear him?
Yeah.
It's good?
Yeah. No, I know.
You can hear Zach too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sean, you good? Sean, you good?
Should I try saying something again?
It's good,
Hello?
but it's doing that thing again. It's better than last time because instead of having the two mics picking up the sound, it's just one. But it's still not at the point to where we're getting the feed directly from Zoom. We're hearing. I think we're hearing your panelists because it's coming through your laptop and the mic is picking it up still.
Is that the thing that I don't know if that's what happened last time. Because I didn't...
Because what happened last time is that it was
doubling mine.
It was doubling your
and
sound
everyone
because it was
else.
picking up audio from the mic, the Yeti, and your laptop.
Zoom. But I don't think... Is it even gonna...
It's better than last time. That's.
Is anything doubling?
No.
No.
Can you
No.
hear things?
Yes.
Yeah. I hear you, I hear Zach, and I hear Kayla right
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Is that okay?
No.
It-
There's no doubling there. That should be.
Alright.
It's not double. It's.
Are you
it's
okay?
success.
Are you okay
Yes,
with this
yes,
as
yes,
a
yes.
as a quality product?
Yes, it's quality check. I'm 100% cool with this.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes. I don't want to figure out why.
Why it's doing things?
the desktop
Okay.
audio is not coming through, but I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up.
Okay.
I'm gonna shut up.
As long as
Alright.
it's doubling, then you should be fine.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, y'all. Thanks for being so patient while I was troubleshooting things. Yes. Hi. Welcome to the colleges. Shh. What's going on? 1 second. What?
What?
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
You guys are laughing at me. I'm sorry, my tech team is laughing at me. Anyway, thank you so much for coming and spending your evening here at the College's 9 and 10 YouTube channel. My name is Megan. I am a programs assistant with the college's 9 and 10 activities office, and I am a 4th year. I am probably not really what you came here for. You probably came here for the expertise of my awesome panelists who are all computing majors, so hopefully y'all can get some great information out of them. The bullet journaling thing that I have here is kind of like a side thing, but in any case, we'll get to the main event then. I will let my panelists introduce themselves. So how about we start with Nout?
Hello guys, I'm Nout Ruskin. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a 2nd year computer science major. Excited to do this stream tonight, I guess.
Awesome, thanks Nout. And then Zach, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Hi everybody, I'm Zach. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a 4th year computer science major. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome, and then we have Kenzie.
Hello, my name is Kenzie. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a 4th year computer engineering major with a concentration in digital hardware. And I'm actually a transfer. I came here last year, so if there anybody, well, they're all freshmen, but if you have any, look forward to talking to them.
All right, thanks so much for being here, Kenzie. And then next we have Arjun.
Hi, yeah, my name is Arjun. My pronouns are he and him, and yeah, I'm a third year at CS major. Yeah.
Awesome. And then last but not least, we have our duo right there, Kayla and Zainab.
I'm Kayla. I am a fourth year computer science major, and she, her pronouns.
Hi, my name is Zainab. I'm also a fourth year computer science major, and I also use the pronouns she, her, hers.
All right, awesome. So thank y'all for, hello Cameron in chat. Hi. So thank y'all for being here. Obviously, y'all know a lot more about computing at UCSC than I do, and hopefully people can get some good information out of this little panel that we have going on here. I do not have the questions on me right now, so would someone like to read our first question and kick off the answering section while I do this stuff?
Where do we have the questions, Brandon?
It was in the email?
Oh, in the email. Okay. Okay. Okay, all right. Here we go. So the first question is CS/computing a cult? I would say no, personally. Other panelists, what do you guys
Can you
think?
still hear it? I muted my mic on Zoom.
I don't think we have any cult sacrifices, or at least I haven't been invited to the cult meetings. So if we are a cult, I'm out of the loop.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we are either.
Not that I know of, but also I'm a second year, so I can't really say much.
So like I can still hear myself. So muting your mic on Zoom.
Kayla, Zainab, what do you guys think?
Okay, sorry. We
Sorry
have
about
someone
that.
else on the Zoom meeting, so we're trying to figure out how this.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah.
We, I think, kind of agreed that CS is kind of
A
like
cult.
a cult, but not necessarily in a bad way. I don't know. It feels like everyone's very, very connected, and like most of the people I know, and like my friend group and everything, were all CS majors. So I feel like it just kind of slowly turns into like, yeah.
I mean, everyone that I associate with or study with, they're all super cool, chill, and casual, and super supportive as well, especially in a major that's pretty demanding.
I agree on that last part, honestly. All the CS majors that I met at, even like everybody that I met at Santa Cruz are just like hands down the most supportive people. Like everywhere that I've turned, right, MSI, just like other study groups in the library, right, if I notice someone's working on something else, like, it's how I met like some of my friends too last year. I just noticed that we all be working on the same thing. Kayla and Zainab, I'm pretty sure that's how like we all met too. Like just kind of we were working on the same homework and we all kind of collaborated together and helped each other like understand it and like get through it. So I think a lot of the classes can be pretty tough. And I think the environment sometimes, I think outside of Santa Cruz seems competitive, but I think everyone in Santa Cruz is really helpful and like very not as like competitive or cutthroat as it seems at other schools. Like I think if you go to like Berkeley or like UCLA, a lot of my friends there, they're like, oh, like, you know, I feel like I'm in competition with people that have imposter syndrome constantly, right? But honestly, with everybody that I've met at Santa Cruz, honestly grateful to be in such an amazing community of people at Santa Cruz.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. So, does anyone else have anything to add to that, or shall we move on to the second question? I guess it's a no.
Yeah.
Or okay, awesome. So then in that case, we'll move on to the second question of what is one thing that you wish you knew of as a frosh in computing? Anyone can pick this up.
I'll start off with saying that I wish I had networked earlier, and I wish I looked for internships earlier as well. I was very unaware of the whole internship process and what I needed to do, during fall for recruitment season and what I should also be doing for summer. I feel like maybe that would have given me more experience, but it's totally okay if you're unable to get internships as well. Like everyone's process in computer science doesn't have to be the same internship grind as everyone else's. It's all about the balance.
I'll second that one because my family doesn't come from like a tech background at all, which I think is, at least from the people I've met, pretty common, at least again in computer science. So for me going into school, I had no idea, again, like internship process, like you have to study, you have to be applying, and like it's like you have to start applying in like October, maybe November for the next summer's internships. So you have to think very far ahead. So I think that was really helpful. Mostly my friends were the ones who kind of like got me on the right track, which was very good. But yeah, so I second the internships and more knowledge about that.
Yeah, I guess I wish I knew more information about like the classes, or at least I did more research on them. Like I remember after like I declared, they were like, or before I had to declare my major, they were like, oh, make a plan. And I had no idea like what classes I wanted to take. And like now I'm kind of like regretting it because I'm like, I'm not regretting it, but like I wish I planned it better so I could take more classes that I wanted to take. And like I also wish someone told me how hard it was to get into classes.
Yeah, I agree with that, honestly. I also want to add to, I think something I wish I knew as a frosh is that, like, don't be intimidated by upperclassmen or, like, freshmen even. Like, I was such a scared little freshman, like, in my first quarter. I didn't talk to anybody. I was afraid. It's like, oh, God, like, what if I fail my classes? Like, I'm just going to, like, come home. It's going to be sad, scary. But honestly, like everyone is all going or has gone through the same experiences, right? So there's no shame in like reaching out or asking to help. Everyone knows the struggles and they know how tough college can be. So like don't be afraid. Just kind of like reach out or say hello. Like see someone in your Zoom class, they're talking about something. Just like reach out to them, and be like, oh hello, like I'm just a freshman. Or like you don't even say that you're a freshman. You can just be like, oh, I'd be interested in like hearing more about what you got going on or things like that. Maybe even reaching out to professors too. That's one of my biggest regrets that I wish I did more. Like there's honestly some amazing faculty here at Santa Cruz, and I think a lot of people don't take advantage of talking with them. I think there's some really brilliant and smart people that teach at this school, and it's kind of not really like shown that much because a lot of people are focused more on career grind or focused on just trying to get to class, trying to get their A and just move on. But I think a lot of these professors are really doing some interesting work, and we have the opportunity to do research under them, which is really amazing as well.
Awesome. Does anyone else have anything to add to that and the list of things I wish I knew as a freshman?
Personally, I don't have that much to add, I guess, because I'm a second year, so I don't have that much experience, in like computer science. I think the one main thing is like, especially like your first quarter, like first 2 quarters, don't be too nervous about your classes. I had a lot of friends of mine who were just like, oh, CS is going to be hard. It's definitely not an easy major, right? But I think you don't need, like a lot of people were telling me like, oh, you need a lot of experience already. And I was like, I don't know about that one. And I feel that is not necessary at all.
Awesome.
Oh, another thing that I wanted to add on is like, sometimes computer science in classes can be intimidating and really get you down. But don't worry, like there's a ton of people in the same boat as well. You just have to reach out and ask for help and whatnot. And it can be easy to get frustrated and to feel like to get imposter syndrome and whatnot. So just like reach out to your friends in your classes or for help and realize that it's okay to not understand something.
Yeah, that's a really awesome point, Zainab. So I guess we'll answer a question that came in chat, and then we'll expand on this idea of imposter syndrome within the group. So someone said, is it bad if we don't know we have midterms? Which I will go ahead and say, as someone who's not in computing, no. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. If anyone wants to pick that one up.
I mean, wait, is it bad if they don't know when we have don't know that they have midterms?
The question was, is it bad if we don't know if we have midterms? Which, like, I don't know. I've missed out on midterms. I've missed out on a lot of midterm studying because I'm just, like, not paying attention.
Yeah.
So.
No, I have a midterm on Tuesday and I have to start studying, so it's no shame, honestly. And I think I would be better at it after 4 years, but yeah, I think a lot of the times it's easy to kind of get distracted with things that aren't necessarily college and school, and it's really easy to sort of pick up things outside of what you should be doing, right? I mean, like, studying is always there, midterms are going to be there, but just try your hardest. Like, the worst you can do is fail and just retake the class. But just, try and get good study schedules in, I would say. That's a big thing that I wish I did freshman year. Like, if you can make it a habit, then it just doesn't feel like work. And then you can sort of, like, ace your classes and be, like, ahead of, like, 90% of people. Because I'm pretty sure that most people end up, like, only studying a few days before the actual midterms. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to kind of expand on the imposter syndrome thing too, because I feel like, what was the question about imposter syndrome, and where do you want to expand on maybe?
Yeah, so imposter syndrome, like, even like me personally, it's something that I've heard a lot about, and I don't have like too much exposure to. So if y'all could like kind of define that term in your own words, what imposter syndrome is, and then like ways of combating that, or how y'all have like experienced it and overcome it.
Overcome it. That's a
Overcoming, maybe that's like a long process, but
yeah.
I think to some extent you never really overcome it. It's almost like you learn to live with it, at least in my experience. That sounds very negative, but it's almost like, at least for me, no matter where you go, especially at the beginning, you're kind of always going to have imposter syndrome. So you're going to school, your major, when you have an internship, your job, whatever. So it's kind of just learning to accept that you are going to feel like an outsider and kind of embrace that and move forward. Like, that's helped me a lot.
Does anyone want to hop in on the imposter syndrome talk?
I think that in addition to that too, it's kind of, I don't know, I agree, it's learning to live with it, right? But you definitely have to like try your hardest not to compare yourself to other people. So I think that's what ends up happening. Like, you hear like you hear some person in like the library be like, oh yeah, I got my second internship at Google, and you're like, what? Like, how is this happening? Like, I've been trying to do, like, you're like listing off in your head, like, I've been doing all these things trying to reach that same goal. What are they doing differently, right? And then you keep like thinking over and over, like, what do I need to be doing differently? Like, how am I supposed to reach their goal, right? But in the end, you're thinking about their goal, and it makes you feel worse about what you're trying to aspire to do and what you want to do, right? I think that's, at least for me, how imposter syndrome feels. Like, every time I hear about other people getting like these big internships or like, big job offers, it makes me sometimes like, oh God, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I on the right track? But I don't know. I think a lot of the times people just get roped into other people's tracks and other people's lives. I don't know how you guys all feel about that, but it's, at least for me, what imposter syndrome's like.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a big, I mean, I think this is one of the later questions, but that's one of the reasons I really like sometimes just don't like LinkedIn at all, because I'll look on LinkedIn and it'll be like a notification like, oh, congratulate this person about like how they started this internship. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, your point was like totally right. Like, it's hard. It's hard not to like compare yourself, especially when like you see everyone like around you like promoting what they've been doing, and like they're promoting because they want like other people to like they're trying to like hustle too, so it's like it's like this vicious sort of cycle. Like LinkedIn's great. Like, there's a lot of benefits to LinkedIn, but like that's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, I would say like I guess I've struggled with imposter syndrome in like many different ways, especially transferring. Even like, coming here and thinking, like, did I choose the right school out of the one that I applied for? And it's like, seeing other friends where they are and thinking if, this is like what I was, I don't know, destined to be going down. And it helps to kind of, find things that are unique to like what you're doing that nobody else is doing. Like, like this school is mainly focused on the technological side of engineering, and it's not a wide span. It's kind of like we're sort of more focused on than the other majors is how I kind of think of it. And even with internships, like, not everybody who is grown to be a successful person has had 3 internships by the time they've graduated. Some people haven't even had any sort of experience and they go down different roads. So I just kind of I like to think, that we all have different ways of getting to where we are going. Some might get there faster than you, but I mean, eventually you're working towards your own goal, and you keep in mind that, keep in mind your goals, and, try not to make your goals somebody else's goals, or somebody else's goals your goals, is what I would say.
So yeah, that was a really good point of like making sure that you're doing what you want, not necessarily following the flow of other people. So yeah, I think that was a really good response. And then we have another question in chat. How should we find professors to reach out for help or research opportunities? If y'all have any experience with that.
I think the biggest thing for me, especially for help, I haven't done too much research, but just going to office hours of your current professors and talking to them there. A lot of the times you can just go to office hours, and even if you don't want to talk about the class itself, you can talk about what they're working on, because most professors, if not all professors, are doing teaching and research. And at least from my experience, most professors like just love to talk about what they're researching and working on and love to share it. So just go to office hours. You can just bring it up, especially towards the beginning of the quarter when like assignments aren't too hard. There's no tests. So like there's just not that many people in office hours in general.
I will definitely second that. I'm currently an undergraduate TA for a class that I previously took, and and Zach is in that class. And the way that I got to this position was that a professor just emailed all her previous students and asked if we were interested in developing the course and whatnot. So definitely, keeping on top of maintaining a relationship with your professor, reaching out to them via email. Office hours are great because you get that face-to-face connection, and then you could quickly get your questions answered. And they're very eager to talk about their research. And I feel like professors are always excited when someone comes to office hours because usually not many people do. So yeah.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I guess this is also kind of like something I wish I knew as a frosh, but like, don't be afraid of office hours or professors in general. Like, I know it can be daunting, like, especially like if you go, like, I mean, through Zoom at least, or like, like you're the only one there, it can be a little daunting to like talk face to face with a professor or even just like one-on-one. But most of them are really nice, and don't be afraid. And usually they're really friendly, and like they're just lonely. They just want people to talk to.
Just lonely.
Yeah, I agree. I'm still scared of my professors sometimes, so no shame. If you take Sesh's class, if you have one-on-one or anything with Sesh, he can kind of be scary, but if you go to his office hours, he's pretty chill. If you message him, he's pretty down to earth. Like, that's the thing too, because professors will definitely like have like a big difference in who they are when they're lecturing, especially if you have a big class, right? You've got like 100 plus, or even 50 plus people, right? They have to like kind of project and really like push themselves out there. I guess it's hard to kind of see that on like Zoom now, but when you're in a big lecture hall, it's a lot more apparent. And office hours, like I was saying, like Kayla and Zainab were saying, it's a lot easier. A lot of professors are pretty lonely. Like, they just want to talk with their students. Yeah, I think it honestly makes their day a lot of the times you ask them about the research too, because majority of students do not. So like if you're working on something, like say you're working on a personal project, right? And someone comes by and they're just like, oh, hey, can you tell me about like how this is going? Like, what is it doing? You probably, your day would be made, right? You'd be like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's great. You'd be able to talk in depth about it. So I think a lot of people are really, a lot of professors are really interested in talking about it. Because at the end of the day, they're people too, right? They're not like some godly, like educational beings that give us information. They're just, they're just other people.
Awesome. Does anyone else have anything to add to that, or we can move on? So, well, in that case, I think we're good. All right. So next question that we have off of our list is, what is one resource that more people should take advantage of? I know one that we've said so far is definitely office hours, and that's probably common for like all majors across UCSC.
I would say the MSI sessions for classes if they do offer them. I mean, with me, even if I don't think I need tutoring, I'll go anyways for the class just to get the extra practice and get it ingrained in my mind, and just to perform better on exams and quizzes and whatnot. And also it's also a good way to make more friends and make more study groups. It's what I found, like even at my community college. I did a lot better in my classes when I had others to talk to, and I always had somebody to go to when I had a question, like, hey, how'd you do this problem, or like, what was your approach? So definitely the MSI sessions, and even the individual tutoring. I think you can go into there, and also Mesa. If you are signed up with Mesa, I believe they do priority signups for some classes. For the tutoring, which is also nice. If there's a lot of demand for tutoring, that could definitely help you, get a first step in there. So definitely the tutoring sources, I think, would be something that you should all take advantage of.
Y'all can't see, but Zach said +1 for MSI.
Yeah, I guess I'll say it. I didn't know if they could see the chat or not. Yeah, +1 MSI. Honestly, MSI has saved me from failing at least 3 of my classes, so I would definitely recommend it. Linear algebra, I would have not passed that class without my MSI tutors. Yeah, honestly, 107 as well, stats, like that was really helpful. And 101 is helpful too. I think like MSI is like, just honestly, if there are resources thrown, like pushed at you, they're pushing you for a reason. So like even if it doesn't work for you, you might as well try it. Like just show up to MSI. If you're having trouble too, like if you've already got a system that works for you and you're getting A's in your classes, you don't have to go to MSI. You've obviously figured it out. But if you are having trouble, like yeah, MSI is a wonderful option, and it's free. Like, what do you know? Crazy. So we'll charge like more like money on top of our college tuition, but we have free tutoring from other students. It's great.
Oh yeah, I guess something like outside of like taking classes or like actually like getting help with like school like is if you like struggle with like not knowing what classes to take, undergraduate support at Baskin is really great. They've helped me a lot because I remember when I first got here, I was like, man, I don't know what any of these classes are. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to take, what I'm not supposed to take. And yeah, there's always like, I think fellow students who like they work for Baskin and they like give advising. So take advantage of that. I think it's virtual now, so.
Does anyone else have anything to add, or shall we move on?
I think TA office hours are pretty cool. Like that's why I use a lot, like especially in the recent like 2 quarters. I usually went to that when I like struggled on like assignments. Or I don't know, that's might be me, but I like PODs a lot. I don't know if you guys use that, but it's really helpful if you have like a quick question that a student can answer to. You have some contact with like students, I guess, which is cool.
Nice. So I guess with that, we'll move on to our next question. maybe this is gonna end up as the same vein of the imposter syndrome question, where like you don't really get over it. But how do y'all balance such a demanding major and being a person or trying to stay sane? Zach says he doesn't.
I'm gonna say same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to balance sometimes. It just kind of, I mean, I don't know. What works for me, honestly, is kind of like taking some like one-on-one time, just like walking with nature. Now that I'm home, I'm with my dog, and so I like really just spend some time, some afternoons, like go on a nice walk. Maybe bring my headphones, listen to some music, right? Like kind of like recenter yourself, because it's really easy to sort of like pull yourself in all these different directions, right? For all your different classes you gotta take, all these different clubs you gotta take, or all you gotta be a part of too. Looking for internships, right? Like just trying to keep it with friends too, especially now that we're farther away. It's all like, you know, a big juggling act. And I think kind of stepping away helps a lot for me. Like just kind of bringing yourself back to center and like having a you time. Whether that be walking with your dog or like drawing or like just listening to some lo-fi anime beats to chill and relax to, right? Or whatever floats your boat, right? It could be playing some video games too. I think just spending a little bit of alone time and not overwhelming yourself with work is the best way to do it. Because I think it's really easy to overwhelm yourself with work, but it just gets more and more stressful. If you spend a little bit of that time for yourself, everything else seems easier, in my opinion.
I was going to kind of, what's it called? Lead by counter example, as in don't do what I usually do. Usually what I do is I'll take like the weekend and just not do any work, and then just cram all my work into the week instead of kind of spacing it out a little bit. I don't recommend that. I think that you should do kind of more like what Zach was saying, where you just take breaks while you're working, or just work a couple hours a day, or yeah. Especially just on the weekends, you can get ahead. I don't know. I'm pretty bad with that.
To answer the question, I would say just like have a little side hobby or something like that. Just something that will be able to distract you now and then, because it's you definitely need to take breaks during work, or else it's gonna be like mentally and emotionally and physically exhausting. Especially like when you're in hours and hours of coding or just trying to finish an assignment. And so taking a break, whether it may be like going out for a walk or watching YouTube videos or watching a stream or something like that, you know, whatever you're into.
I kind of want to add on to that too. So like when taking a break, I think it's important as well, at least for me. I don't know if this applies for everybody else, but like removing yourself from your work environment, right? Especially now that like everyone's at home and like your work environment is like your bed or your desk or something, right? Like maybe just picking up your laptop and going to the kitchen, or maybe like, you know, just not being in the spot where you do work all day, because there's like a very fine line, at least I'm a big believer in that, where like if you associate the place that you work, like the place that you like relax, things kind of like tend to blend, and you kind of associate, oh, I'm watching all these YouTube videos for research, right? You know, to be working, but you know, you're kind of just lying to yourself then, or like you say that you're relaxing when you're doing more and more work and you get more exhausted, right? And things kind of can get a little disjointed that way. So maybe just like having, you know, separate physical spaces as well.
Didn't have to call me out like that.
I find it helpful to write down every day like what I have to do and like when it's due. That way I kind of have an idea of like how much I need to get done today. Like if I have stuff due, you know, Friday, I mean, I have time to space it out a little bit and not necessarily, you know, just, you know, stress myself out by doing it all in like 2 nights and like staying up till 3 a.m. or something. I find it better, you know, just like write down every day, like what you have to do, when it's due. If it's the same thing as yesterday, then it's the same thing as yesterday. You know, like, and just checking that off too, I think is also helpful. That way you can like check off and say, okay, if I get these 2 things done today, you know, then I can, you know, take the night off and, watch YouTube or do whatever you like to do the most. I think it's just good to have that mindset of planning and, just making mini goals, not just say like, oh, I need to get all my assignment done tonight. Just make like, mini goals throughout the week, I think, is a lot easier to handle than trying to get everything done in one night, which I've done sometimes, so don't do that.
It's cool. I think we've all been there.
I'm also going to add another point. Have like a good group of friends to reach out to, whether it may be just talking about what you're struggling with or helping with homework and stuff like that, or just even taking a break with them. I think it's very important to have like a safe, secure community, because it's really difficult to handle things on your own. And so having people in your life that care about you and that are always there for you is definitely a game changer.
Yeah, I agree. Like the other week, I met with a couple friends through like a Discord voice channel, and we wanted to do our assignment together. And we talked for like, well, we didn't talk, but we were together for about like 4-ish hours. And before I knew it, I had finished an assignment, and we were able to work through it, and also just have that moral supportive and kind of have that direct like, hey, I have a question, and then you kind of like work through it together. So it was a good balance between like visiting and having fun, but also being able to work on stuff together and get it done. Before you know it, you'll probably be done. And it's easier, I think, to do it with friends because you kind of push each other to get it done. Like, okay, let's get it done, but also kind of have a little fun while you do it. So.
All right, awesome. Does anyone have any closing thoughts on that, or shall we move on? All right, well, in that case, next question. This is a big one, especially for our frosh, which are having such a strange first year of university. How has COVID and the shift to digital learning changed the way you work or the way you interact with school?
It's significantly different, that's for sure. I personally do not like it. I know a lot of people really enjoy working from home and like doing online classes, but it's not for me. So it takes some adjustment. You definitely have to kind of accept that even if it's not ideal, it's kind of, can't really do much about it. So yeah, I think honestly one of the biggest things for me was what Zach was mentioning, like separating where you work versus where you relax and stuff like that. I think it makes a really big difference, especially just for like productivity, being able to focus. Like if I try to watch like Zoom while I'm like downstairs, like I just get distracted with my housemates or with anything that's happening as opposed to like if I'm in my room at my desk, like I tend to focus more and take notes and all of that. It just takes some adjustment. It's also, I know for freshmen, very difficult to meet people right now with online. I don't really know how the school is helping with that, if they are. But I don't even know what to say. It's hard. I don't even know how to get around it.
I would say with meeting people, at least right now, I know, that's got to be honestly the biggest thing. Like, I would feel so isolated. I honestly feel for all freshmen like coming this year on Frosh. Like, there's a lot of online activity in communities. I think that there's a UCSC Discord, the Facebook group too. Like, just put yourself out there. Like, honestly, there's 18,000 people like in Santa Cruz. Like, it's a big boat. Like, chances are you'll probably end up finding someone that's into the same things that you are. So even just like, it's kind of like, you're trying to find friendships, like just online, you just kind of make a bio of yourself. It's like, it's maybe some people will swipe right on you to be friends, maybe they'll swipe left, but it's okay, Like, you kind of just have to put yourself out there in terms of maybe like talking to people on Discord or talking to people on Facebook. Maybe even joining clubs too. I mean, I'm a president of a club, and we had to like figure things out, like transitioning to online like formats. And for the first like quarter, like spring quarter, everyone, it was like so socially like dead. Like, we didn't talk with anybody. And the meetings kind of just happened where I would sort of talk at everybody, and we'd have guest speakers come in. and it wasn't really fun. It wasn't really interactive. So like over the summer, we kind of like changed everything. So now half of our meeting is literally just us playing games. Like we've made it so everyone kind of gets to talk with each other. Because I know it's hard. It's definitely tough being isolated in these times. Like it's really I don't know. It's gonna be hard going forward, I think, to make friends. But if you're on campus too, because I know there's some frosh on campus still, try your best to kind of like, maybe just knock on people's doors. Like you guys, there's only a few people there. You're bound to find people in the same situation who want to like be friends or who are looking for people to be close with, right? So just I'd say take a shot, no matter if it's like online or in person, right?
Yeah, it's hard being home because there's a lot of distractions. Like having a puppy at home, that's all I want to be with. And, being able to just walk out of my room and just kind of roam around the living room when I'm supposed to be, probably doing work. It was a lot easier to just go to the library where it was quiet and everybody was already working. So you kind of had that environment where you're like, oh, I should probably be working too. So it's kind of hard. It's been hard for me to push myself to still be as productive, especially, with the workload that we all have as computer science, computer engineering majors. It's especially hard, I think, for me at least to stay motivated sometimes because you kind of get burnt out after a while. So that's been, the hardest part for me, but I try to, just take breaks or, I try to keep my phone away and keep it on silent. I don't have to go on there and scroll on Instagram, like for 30 minutes or stuff like that. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on what you were saying, Kenzie, like about getting overwhelmed, right? We saw, like definitely, it's really easy to do that, and I think friends and just like having a social balance are kind of like good to help out with that. It kind of like recenters you in the same way like taking away time from work does as well.
Yeah, there's a lot more negatives than positives to like online, virtual learning, but one positive is that it's easier to get to class. And there's more motivation to go to class. Like, I don't know how much you guys feel that because you guys are, you haven't really experienced having to walk up and down the hills to get to classes, but you can go to class from your bed. Yeah, that's one benefit. And, it's not a huge lecture hall, so if you have a question, all you have to do is just, unmute yourself. So that's another benefit. But everything else kind of sucks. So, yeah.
It might have just been me, but I kind of liked the walks to class. It was kind of like relaxing. It kind of like released stress for me because it's just like, especially like after studying at like McHenry, I kind of like just walking back to like the dorms because it was just like dead quiet, which is like, I guess one of the things I miss the most because now I'm just like stuck in my room and just like when I'm like done studying, I end up just still being in my room instead of like actually going somewhere. But I guess what I tend to do now is just go on like a bike ride for like an hour because it makes me like be off my phone. So like no social media either, which I think is kind of cool.
Things that y'all on stream can't see. Everyone misses the trees and the deer. Maybe not the raccoons, but the trees and the deer were always great parts of campus. I will agree with that.
When it's like I don't know what time of year, but the time of year when like all the little babies are running around, so there's like tiny little turkeys and like the fawns and like very cute.
Yeah. Like early spring, we missed all that this year.
Yeah. I miss like the post-rain like smell of campus too. Like when it's kind of a little damp, like walking around. It feels like it's so like refreshing. I don't know. Or like early morning. Like honestly, 8 a.m. suck. I hate 8 a.m.s, but like 8 a.m.s on campus when you get out of class and it's like everything's just waking up. It's like so peaceful and so nice.
I can vibe with a good 8 a.m. class if I have to. I guess if I have to, but yeah, I don't mind 8 a.m.
I just wanted to mention that like I'm really excited for when all the students can come back to campus, especially those that haven't experienced UCSC yet. It's a very, very beautiful campus. There are spectacular views everywhere. It's straight up in the middle of the forest. And I would also say like the walks in between classes or when you're just like roaming around are absolutely beautiful. And I would kill to go back a couple years and relive the whole experience.
All right. Well, I guess with that, we'll move on to our next question that was alluded to earlier. What is the deal with enrollment? Tell everyone how the enrollment schedule works, how priority works, and what has your experience with enrollment been? Because I know that a lot of people have had less than savory experiences.
So again, not a positive thing. Every single quarter that I've been here, I have gotten like none of the classes that I want. Either that or I'm constantly on the wait list. So the first like 2 or 3 weeks of the quarter, I'm in like 5 or 6 classes instead of 3. So yeah, it's kind of a mess. I know that there's some programs that allow you to have early enrollment, which I highly recommend finding what those are and joining them. And yeah, the biggest thing for me was always have backup plans. So if you want to take like the usual schedule is like 2 major courses and 1 GE. The GEs usually aren't a problem. It's just the major courses. So have your top 2 courses that you want to take. And then you're like plan B, C, D, E, and you'll probably get like the last one or so. And then like just, yeah, I don't know, staying enrolled in classes and going, even though you're on the wait list, has panned out for me most of the time. It's just a lot of extra work and stress at the beginning. But a lot of professors will kind of wait until towards the end, like when the ad drop deadline approaches, and they will see who's been participating in class, like who's been going to lectures and who's been doing all of the assignments, and make kind of like exceptions and arrangements for those students so that they can still be involved. At least that's my experience. That's obviously not every professor, but yeah.
I think it's important. So you will always probably be on the wait list at some point. It's a hard truth, but it does happen. There's a lot of students on campus and there's limited classes available. So definitely having backup plans is good. And also see what your professor's opinion on a wait list is. Sometimes they're very strict and they say, no, we need to cap it. It's absolutely impossible for us to take in new students. Other times they're a bit more lenient. So I think that's good to figure out early on, just because being in multiple classes in the first couple of weeks is a little stressful. So you kind of need to scope the situation out. As for priority enrollment, so the more units that you have, the earlier your enrollment time is. So I guess to get to do that, taking a lot of classes or coming in with credits. That way you're in a higher standing compared to everyone else. Oh, yeah. And also don't forget your enrollment time. Like literally the minute that your slot opens up, immediately enroll in your class.
I've heard that other people have made like auto clickers for stuff like that, like the stuff that you would use on StockX. I mean, I've never used one, but have y'all's friends used any?
I have friends of friends, but never like direct contacts.
That's crazy. That's like next level. That's big brain move.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with enrollment too. So I want to make a note about the 8 a.m. thing earlier. I had someone try and tell me that they're going to go through the college career without enrolling in an 8 a.m. That's not possible. You will literally, like, if you try and do that, you're going to stay an extra year. Like, it doesn't matter. You will hit an 8 a.m. eventually. So they're coming. But I wanted to say, like, yeah, I want to emphasize all the points that Kayla and Zane were saying. Like, honestly, like, +1 to all of that. Make sure you've got a plan. Like, beforehand, like, before you enroll, like, even for the next, like, year, I've always got, like, a sort of the major chart that Baskin gives out. I think they have on the back, there's, like a year planner. Make sure you kind of get those down and, like, explore, like, alternative timelines. Like, you know, like, say you may, like, not get a class here or there, but leave, like fill-ins. So, like, I think, like, the major requirements classes, you've definitely got to get those down. But after you get past like 101 or like, the basic requirements, you can like explore a lot more with like electives and things. So you just kind of like leave like blanks for those, but maybe for the first like I'd say plan 3 quarters out. You don't have to plan for your all 4 years, but you have a rough timeline. But I'd say 3 quarters out, you should have a general idea of what classes you're taking in each quarter, so you know what you can prepare for and try and get those classes. And like Caleb and Zane were saying too, right? You might be enrolled in like 5 or 6 classes in the beginning, so plan for those as well. Like plan which classes you're going to try and waitlist into, because you don't want to get stuck like when you're all your classes are waitlisted and you're not going to get in and you don't know what else to go into, right? If you are able to add those things to your shopping cart and like be ready on the dot, then you're going to be like above a lot of other people, right? Because those people aren't going to, or there's a lot of people that I know who don't sort of plan accordingly and they lose out on their spots. And so like they just straight up will have like 2 classes and they still need like 3 or 4 to take that quarter. They just miss out on opportunities, right? Where they could be getting extra credits, or they could be getting another graduation requirement down.
I just wanted to add on. It was very difficult for me to get the classes that I wanted every single quarter, but I eventually was able to take electives or to take my requirements at different points. I'm currently a 4th year right now and have been mostly able to get in all my requirements and stuff like that. So don't be bogged down if you're unable to get your classes. It will all work out in the end.
I also know one thing that people do is they'll take like a quarter and they'll just have like 3 or 4 GE classes and no major classes. That sounds like a bad thing, but it really isn't. You can very easily get back on track, especially again with CS. The major classes don't actually go all the way till 4 years, so you have like 2+ quarters of like a little bit of leeway. And if you want to wait to get a specific professor, a specific class, like that's not necessarily a bad thing to just wait and finish some of your GEs off instead.
Okay. Another thing to add, there's a couple classes that you should be aware of that are incredibly difficult, and maybe leave a spare quarter in case you have to retake it. I think 102 and 130 are the most difficult CS requirements, and it's okay to not pass the class. It happens even to the best of us, but it's good to, make that adjustment in your schedule, because you don't want to stay an extra quarter if you were able to avoid it.
120 is also crazy hard. Computer architecture. Yeah. Oh my god.
I was gonna say 120 as well. Yeah. That was rough. Yeah. Jose.
Right now.
Oh yeah. Jose did not let up.
I had Scott Beamer, and last quarter there was like a big cheating scandal thing, and he didn't go easy on us on the final. You could tell he wasn't happy. So, but he curved well. That was nice.
I think I heard about.
Oh yeah. The curve, definitely also don't underestimate how big curves can be in some classes, because there'll be like, especially hard classes like 120. I remember I thought I was going to straight up fail that class. I ended up getting an A somehow. Don't ask me how, but that like some math, like I bombed the last exam, but with the curve I ended up passing. So don't stress too much as well. Trust me, you might fail, but it's okay. A lot of the times the curve can save you, and the curve will save you. So trust in the curve.
Yeah, trust the curve. Do not underestimate the curve.
Oh yeah, and you should try as well to strategize. I was gonna say for a moment. Look at the rate of my professors as well. For if like you and professors are teaching, if there's 2 like sections, right? Definitely like compare and contrast. Like like what the professor is like compared to this one, right? Maybe like in the spring you got an easier professor compared to like winter when there's a harder professor. You try and take them in spring. If you can, I know that's not always possible. I've definitely gotten some bad professors, but like I said earlier, the faculty are pretty awesome just in terms of office hours and being able to talk with people. So regardless if you have a tough professor, hopefully they would be understanding. Fingers crossed. I don't think I've ran into a time where a professor is not understanding, at least that I can think of. Most of the time, if you have any like DRC accommodations or you have anything that's happening in your personal life as well, you need to reschedule like midterms or exams. I think most professors are pretty open to that.
Yeah, also, I know 120 and 130 are upper divs, and you guys probably won't face that for a while, I think. But for lower divs, CE12 or CAC 12, I guess that's what it is now. Yeah, CAC 12. Oh my God, that class will it'll blind you. That's a class that'll blind you because that's like I think that's the prereq for 120, and it's like a similar concepts. So watch out for that. A lot of people. Yes, definitely don't take it in your first quarter. I remember a mistake I made was I took 12B. I don't think you guys have 12B anymore, but I took 12B. I guess that's like 101 right now. Yeah, so I took 12B my first quarter and I failed because I was not ready at all. Yeah, so just take it easy in your first quarter. Don't like pile it on. Also, I know 101 kind of hits people hard now because that's like the first C course people take now because everything's Python now before. I tutor for that class, so I have people come up to me like, I don't know how to do C. What is memory allocation? And like, a lot of classes expect you to have knowledge that you may not have known you needed to know about. So just maybe like that's not required, but like maybe try and look at the course description, like what they're expecting. Like maybe like at least try and learn a little bit, maybe. Yeah, before the quarter starts. But.
I wanted to note on that as well. C is like if you try as much as you can to understand C if you don't already as a freshman, because it's going to save you later down the line. A lot of our curriculum focuses on C and C++. I would definitely recommend if you can. I don't know if it's like required. I don't think it's required. Like CSE 13 or CSE 13S, like S or E, with like, if you can, do it with Daryl Long. Max Dunn is like notorious. Oh, it's Major Rec now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know Dunn is notorious for some like cheating scandals. I know one of my friends got failed just by his algorithm and he like didn't talk with the other dude that he got was a crit. Like, there's like, what's the cheating algorithm that everybody uses called? Do you guys Moss. Yeah. So Max like ran like one of my friends' code through Moss. Like a lot of professors do this, and it checks for like
Checks
like
for,
cheating between different.
Right?
Yeah, similarity like between different people's code. And one of my friends was failed on like his final project in like CSE 13 because it was too similar to someone else's. Even though he'd never talked to the guy, they like had to give like email logs, like text logs, everything to prove they didn't do it in like academic court. He still had to retake the class. So like make sure that your code, like if you're gonna cheat, you better do it like really well. But like don't cheat. I'm gonna say I don't endorse cheating. I think it's important to learn and fail on your own. Don't try and make the easy way out because it's just gonna make it harder for you, right? Professors definitely will catch you on it. There's a lot of resources that professors give that help a lot more than going to ask your friends for help or stealing their code, right? Because in the end of the day, if you're going to take someone else's code, you're going to fail the exam, right? I knew a ton of people that happened to in like my 111 class. In 111, like people were sharing programs a lot and they were sharing like, C++ files and our professor didn't check. But on the exams, they like bombed them really hard because they didn't know what they were doing, what they were talking about. I guess it's like a side note, like tangent, but just, yeah, do not cheat. I would recommend trying to just figure it out on your own with all the research that you presented.
Because we are good, honest students.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I took, I don't know if you guys are in like the Santa Cruz Reddit, but I took CC 12 spring quarter and there was a whole fiasco with, what's his name, Logan, Professor Logan. I don't know if you guys know him, but that was a great quarter with a bunch of threats he put onto students. I almost got a heart attack because I didn't even cheat, but I was like, there goes my class. No, yeah, CC12 is a very hard class. Do not take that as like your first quarter. You can take it freshman year. I took it my freshman year, which is like, it's not a bad class. Like I definitely understand why they teach it, but don't take that class as a freshman, or unless it's your first quarter. And then CC13 is definitely a good class. I'm in that right now. I don't know that much about it yet, but it's not too bad compared to CC12. If you're a CS major, I would definitely recommend taking the S and not the E, because the E is for engineering, and I've heard people that are computer science majors that take CC13E, which is more focused on engineering. So if you're an engineering student, definitely take that, I guess, but 13S I think is the move out of the computer science major. Oh, and then also another cruise course, pretty good for Gs. If you're trying to find some good Gs, cruise course can help with that a lot.
Oh, Slug Survival too. Big plug to Slug Survival. Got me through all of these years. It's such a great resource, and I don't think it's like shown enough. I'll post it in chat so Megan can send it out. It's like honestly one of the most wonderful planning tools that you can use.
I agree with that. It helps a lot, especially with enrollment and waitlisting. It'll basically notify you when classes open up. So sometimes you can kind of like sneak your way into a class.
You can finesse your way into the class. All right.
Oh yeah, another thing too. I don't know if you guys are active. If I don't know, just to the frosh. Like go on the subreddit. Like ask on the subreddit too for advice about professors or things. People are usually always. You can post your course schedule and just be like, "Oh, is this doable?" And people will tell you, "No, don't do that. Don't hurt yourself. Come on." Or they'll say, "Yeah, go ahead. That's fine." Honestly, the subreddit is full of pretty helpful people. There's not really. It's like a pretty open community, just like Santa Cruz's community normally is, right? So everybody's online.
Okay, yeah. Also, like, this is like plug from like personal experience. It didn't affect me. Like, I wasn't involved with it, but I know the CSE Discord got mentioned before. So the whole cheating scandal with 120 was. So if you're on a class Discord under the CSE Discord and you see people on voice call during a quiz, do not join, please. I don't know why there was like, I don't know why people were doing that, but what essentially happened was our professor came on the call. Like while they were calling during the quiz, because someone tipped him off, and he just sat there and he listened, and apparently he was taking notes, and yeah, that's yeah. Please, I think that's why they had to like remake the CSE Discord, or like now there's like moderators or something like. But yeah, please just avoid voice calls during quizzes or anything. Like don't be on any messaging or anything like that. Like. You never know, like, it may seem like, you know, it's fine, but, like, you never know what will happen. Like, he literally just showed up, like, on the call, and then he was on the Discord. And apparently he was there the whole time. He just wasn't on any of the calls. But, like, you know, yeah, and then he made our final really hard because he's mad at us. But, yeah, so, personal story.
Oh, yeah, most teachers know about the Discord. What's Maxwell Dunn always talks about the Discord, so I would definitely not post any, like, code or something related to that or the class on that, because you'll most likely get caught in some way.
I'm just gonna pop in and say, take the L, don't cheat. It's anxiety and like even like scares and stuff like that. It's not worth it. Colleges take cheating very, very, very seriously, and you don't want to have to fail a class and retake it or get academic dishonesty or even kicked out of the school. You know, yeah, it's just not worth it.
I would say also, if you've taken a class and like you've coded for it, don't give your code to other people, because also in CSE 12, I know I was grader for that class in spring, and people were getting flagged who had taken the course, you know, like a year or two ago, saying you've been charged with academic dishonesty, and you need to be, you need to meet with like the dean or the director of engineering. So, even though the class is over, it can still get tracked back to you and still, connected. So just save yourself and don't sell any answers or sell your code or anything like that, because it can definitely come back and get you later.
Also, don't use Chegg. Teachers can request all in from Chegg. Don't use it, and it's not worth your money. It's not.
That's advice
Yeah,
for
checks-
every major.
Check is a scam. Don't do it.
Just go to TA office hours. They'll help you better than check most of the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I plus one that. Like, if you're having trouble with the homework or anything, like your TAs are gonna help you. If you have like one specific question, or if you got a few questions, right, they will point you like in the right direction. They're not gonna give you the answer, but they will like give you 90% of the answer and kind of just like lead you along as much as they can. Right? It's not their job to fail you. Like, their job is to help you pass. So it's not. It's kind of really in your what is it?
Like in your best interest.
In your best interest, yeah. Thank you. To like go talk with them before you decide to cheat.
As someone who is not a CS major but has been around a lot of CS majors, posting homework code on GitHub, even if you're like done with the class, can also be considered cheating if other people are looking at it and like stealing your code. Even though like yes, it is your work, if you're like publishing it, you might also get in trouble with some like copyright stuff, because some professors take like their copyright of their work very seriously as well.
Well, yeah, also, like, I know, like, this is something that, like, freshmen, like, think they're, like, super smart in doing, but, like, don't, like, copy code and, like add comments and, like, try and change, like, the variable names, because that's not going to work. That's not how MOS works. Like, MOS literally just checks for, like, logic similarity, and this is how people get flagged even if they didn't cheat, because sometimes, like, you might have, like, similar logic to someone, and then MOS will still flag it. So, yeah, just be really careful with MOS. Like, if you get flagged, there's like, really no way you can get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's different, like, even though, like, it's also different if the assignment is, like, so, like, very straightforward, like, only one way to do it. I think the professor will be, like, more lenient on, like, okay, this is, like, the only way you can do something is, like, or, like, these two ways are the only way you can do, like, solve the problem, which is also, I think they'll probably take that into account, but for, you know, yeah, like Arjun was saying, like, you can't, like, people that I was grading or just automatically like copying and pasting all the logic and stuff into their own lab and just changing their name. Like, that's dumb. Like, you should know that you're going to get caught doing that. So
I guess if that's all we got on that, we'll move on to our next question. Oh, okay. Here we go. Someone asked the question of, should we obfuscate our assignments to prevent false positives with MOS? This is some stuff that I definitely don't really understand, because all of my homework is like papers.
Sorry, go ahead,
Kayla.
I was just gonna say, I think that 99% of the time, if you didn't cheat, if you didn't work with other people, you should be fine. There's no need.
Yeah.
And especially most professors will listen. So even if you get caught and you talk to them and you explain it, and sometimes even if you can just go through your code and explain it all the way through, because like it was your code, you're the one who did it, it's always good. And classes who use GitHub or GitLab for the school, right? You can very, very easily track your progress and your logic as you're going if you're like constantly making commits and updates. So
Definitely commit and update your things periodically through doing the assignment. Don't just do the assignment and then upload it, because that just end up like really kind of looking weird. Definitely try to, like, throughout your work, just upload your things to GitHub, because it really proves your innocence, I guess.
Like, it looks less sus than like trying to like scramble and finish it all at once, I'm assuming. Wow.
Yeah, basically.
CS kids be looking sus. I'm sorry, none of y'all are sus.
I mean, I guess this might be me, but also just for an assignment in general, I like to do them over a longer period of time. It makes me work more efficiently, I guess. Because if I try to do it in one day, I end up not getting that far than I would if I do it over like a span of 5 days. Because you'll just like rethink about it when you're like, I guess, in a better, not that, because you get like really burnt out if you stare at code for a long time. like my eyes tend to hurt pretty soon if I do it for a whole day. So it's just like not really worth it.
Plus one on that too, just like literally start your assignments early. Like, okay, I as we're talking, I get a notification on my Piazza about an assignment that was released like last week and it's due tomorrow. And I see people like posting follow-ups to my question from last week about it. Like, I know there's a ton of people starting this homework tonight, even though it's due tomorrow. If you can, don't be that person. I have done that way too many times. Like, there's been times, like, don't do the all-nighters. Sometimes they're going to be unavoidable, but I literally have only had, I don't think I've had a full all-nighter where I've only done homework. Most of the all-nighters that I've had are, like, just hanging with friends. I don't think, if you're able to manage your time correctly, you should be able to avoid all-nighters. I don't know if that's just me, but I think for the most part, you can definitely you can avoid all-nighters throughout college. You might be more stressed. You might be less stressed. I don't know. This is just my experience. Whatever works for you. If it's doing like 5 all-nighters in a month, sure, go for it.
All right. I guess with that, we'll move on to our next question. This is something that came up in the college's 910 Discord. So, internships. Some of our frosh are really interested and maybe bordering on frantic on the idea of getting internships. So, what are y'all's internship stories like? What have y'all have opportunities in? And also, I'd like to tie in the idea of like having side projects, because as someone who has been on the side of a lot of side projects, watching friends do side projects, I know that in some cases they might be equally as important as internships. So if y'all could expand on that.
I think I'd like to start first with, I know it's very much expected to have internships, but I don't necessarily think that that's the path for everybody. I think that having that expectation is kind of where Zach was talking about earlier, like you don't want to compare yourself to everybody. I definitely think it's important, and if you want to pursue that, then go ahead, but don't put this immense pressure on yourself to get an internship. There are other ways to go, such as doing research and side projects and everything. But yeah, with that out of the way, with internships themselves, I think side projects are kind of the keys to getting internships. And from my experience, I did a lot of hackathons, and completing projects there was really great. For me, it was kind of hard to motivate myself to do projects in my free time, because it's like I want to do my other hobbies in my free time, not still work and school, right? Like I do enough of coding and CS on its own. But the hackathons kind of gave you almost like an excuse, like it's like a competition, like you do it with your friends. It's like a whole event almost. I mean, it is an event, but it makes it like more motivating to do it. But yeah, so they kind of go hand in hand. Apply early is always my recommendation. Good resume, obviously.
I'm going to add on to that from a different perspective. So I suffered from really bad imposter syndrome to the point where I felt like I was unqualified to apply for internships. I thought that my resume was not good enough, that I wasn't good enough to be an intern, and that no company would want to hire me. So I limited myself before companies could give me an answer. So I guess what my recommendation is just apply. You know, you never know what's going to happen. It just takes one yes. And it like everything is going to be okay, and just like explore and see what you're interested in.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Just in terms of internships and hackathons, I want to like plus one with Kayla said, like go to Cruise Hacks. Cruise Hacks is a great like way to just sort of really gain some experience, especially if you're a frosh, right? There's a lot of employers that go to the hackathons too. I don't know how they're going to be doing it this year, but it's a great way for networking, right? I think the biggest thing that people overlook when applying for internships is networking, right? just this year alone. So I'll give you guys some stats. This isn't for internships, but this is like for full-time positions. I applied to 110 jobs just in the past like month, right? I had like 15 to 20 programming assignments or like, coding assessments out of those. And I got 3 interviews and 1 offer. So it's like a big numbers game. Like, you really have to apply as much as you can to internships if you want to get internships. It is a grind within itself. But like Kayla was saying too, it doesn't have to be the only option, right? Like, internships definitely seem to be like a big thing. But I know there's a ton of people who graduate from college and they don't have any internships and they still make it fine, right? Like, just because you see people around you getting internships doesn't mean, like, if you don't want to, then that's fine. You don't have to. If you want to and you want to pursue like software engineering, it's getting a lot more competitive, especially at like bigger firms like Google, like Amazon, or places like that. If you really want to work for those places, or even more startup-y places too. And I think having an internship definitely helps in that sense. It helps you get some more real-world experience, and a lot of those internships turn into full-time offers too. I know a lot of people who end up getting like internships their second or third years. They get return offers, and maybe another return offer into a full-time thing. So if you want to try and go for that route, there's a lot of job security too. I think there's a lot of advantages of internships. It's just really, it's getting very, very competitive. I would recommend, if you can, getting like a group of maybe like 3 or 4 people just to help you grind it out, look over your resumes, do Leetcode questions with each other, right? Because it's tough, and you definitely feel like the imposter syndrome is rampant, right? It's kind of hard at times to approach people and be like, hey, let's work on this together, because you're inherently competing for the same positions, right? And those positions are limited, especially now with COVID, right? But if you look towards, like, you may not be able to get like a huge company on your resume after freshman year. Because I know a lot of companies only hire like sophomores or juniors usually. They don't look for mainly freshmen or seniors. But if you put enough effort out there, you probably will get hired. Like, there's a lot of companies in Santa Cruz too that are looking for people. A lot of smaller companies, right? Just kind of like go on LinkedIn, go on like AngelList, look at startups, and maybe even look towards engineering or companies that are not software related. Like, look towards maybe like, I think Walmart has a big software sector, but like areas that you wouldn't think of that are like really techy, right? There's still a lot of tech there, and there's still a lot of good experiences. Like, I know one of my friends, she used to have a internship at Target. She was working on like their internal web applications, and she got a full-time offer at Intel the year afterwards from her experience. So all experience is good experience, in my opinion. Sorry, I know it was like a long rant. I'll let you guys can like comment on that. Or...
Oh yeah, I was just well, I also like there's a lot of like resources online and stuff. Like, I'll plug it in the chat, but yeah, someone from like Pitt like posted mostly all of the available internships for like summer 2021. And there's like a full comprehensive list on GitHub, and like whether they're still open, and like what kind of roles they have. So that's kind of cool if you're like kind of lost, because I know, at least for me, like I didn't try it. I mean, I sort of tried my freshman and sophomore year, but like I kind of got ghosted by companies, so like I just like gave up. And this is the year, because I'm like, okay, it's my 3rd year. Like, I feel like, like I should really try. And like, yeah, like Zach said, the grind is real. Like, I've applied to like maybe like 100 plus internships, and like I've only heard back from like maybe 15, 20 companies, and like, sometimes like they'll give you an assessment to do, and then they just won't respond again. And then, as I also brought this up, but yeah, Leetcode, it's like super useful. It's all the like it's free, it's mostly free, I think. Yeah, and a lot of the interview questions like you may face will like be on there, and it's like cool practice. It's really boring. But if you like get yourself to do it, it's like really cool experience. Yeah, and also just like I would say don't like focus more on like the company name. Like, focus more on like what projects or like what they'll be making you do, because that's what other companies will look at when you're like trying to apply for jobs and stuff. They just care about like what you did, not where you were.
Yeah, I agree with Zachary about a numbers game. last year. I mean, I think I applied to maybe 10 or so internships, and I got one offer. I got one acceptance. I mainly applied through the NSF site at the REUs. So the research experience for undergraduates. It's you do research and projects at different universities. So I was able to do some research through Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which was really cool. I didn't get to go. I was supposed to go, and then everything, the country decided to shut down. And so, but I was able to make, good connections. Like, I wanted to really get an internship at NASA, but it didn't happen for me. And some people, get internships at NASA in their first try. And honestly, it is about applying early. And I personally made a list. I found it easier to make a list of I put all, here's the link to the internship site. Here's the date that it opens, here's the date that it ends, or the application closes. And I put it in order so that way I knew okay, so that top is I need to get that one done first. So that's how I did it. I need to start doing that again pretty soon for next summer. I just find internships good for summers because I don't really do anything else during the summer. So I feel might as well just take, 8-10 weeks out of my summer to, learn a new skill. In terms of side projects, what was interesting was I used a resource through Santa Cruz. I think it's called Firsthand. You can look up people in your major, and you can schedule them to review your resumes, set up just regular talking, practicing for interviews. And I was able to talk to somebody who went to Santa Cruz, and she works at JPL now. And I was able to talk to her and just see what her journey was and her research stuff. And she said, she said, whenever, I think it was her that said it. She said, when people ask me, how many side projects should I be doing? Her answer was, my side projects are, having a family, taking care of myself, doing life. So, don't feel the need to do tons of side projects, even if it's you don't want to do them. If you're oh, I need to do it to get myself out there. If you don't enjoy it, then, I don't know if it's really necessarily worth it to be doing those side projects. I think it's a good way to figure out what you maybe want to do later on, and kind of see, what internships maybe you're interested in by doing side projects, or maybe the other way around. You want to do internships, kind of see what you want to get yourself into. But I don't think side projects are a necessity to be doing. If you don't enjoy it, then don't do it, because it's gonna be you're stress yourself out more. It's gonna be a waste of your time pretty much. So just do what you want to do. If you're interested in learning about I don't know how Bluetooth works with devices, get into that. Just find something that's really cool to you and go into it. But just don't force yourself to do something you don't want to, because it's gonna stress yourself out more. And it's just something that's not very good, especially now, while you're doing classes. If you're too stressed, then don't do a side project. Focus on doing good in your classes, and maybe down the line you'll do a project in your class that you really like, and you'll find a direction to go down there. So that's what I have to say.
I don't know, it might just be me or it might be wrong, but I feel like you don't necessarily have to also do a side project. Get involved with different clubs around campus, right? I think involvement is a big key too. I feeling I haven't had much experience with internships and stuff and talking to recruiters yet, but I feeling what I did, at least I got involved with student government. So I joined the College 9 Senate with Megan, which I think is really cool. Getting involved with the actual school itself and people, I feeling has given me a distraction from my study too. If you're stressed and stuff, I'd be studying all day, but then I'd have something like the Senate meeting to look forward to at the end of the day, which gave me just kind of a distraction from all the coding and computer science stuff, gives you an opportunity to do leadership stuff too, which is cool.
I think for side projects as well, you can definitely find some friends too that would be interested in doing the same thing. This summer, I didn't have an internship. I wasn't able to, or I had one and it got canceled due to COVID. But I was starting a side project. I still need to finish it with my friends Jico, and we were trying to make a synced like Spotify listening platform. But we kind of like we got to finish working on that. But it's like fun because you still get to like work with someone like you're both learning. But I agree with what Kenzie was saying, right? Don't make side projects just like because they look good on your resume. Like find something that you're interested in. Like if you want to figure out like how Bluetooth works, like do something with that. That's what companies want to see. They want to see like that desire for like learning and like, trying to figure out things. If you want to like rebuild a microwave or something, or like even what Nem was saying, like was just doing student government too. So don't try necessarily push yourself into a position that you don't think you like fit. Like don't sort of put on your resume things that you think are going to get you the job. Put things on your resume that you're proud of and that you actually like want to do. If that's hardware engineering, when everybody seems they're doing software engineering, that's fine. Do something like that. Or vice versa, right? If you want to do something, or even put something that's in your classes, right? If you really were proud of a project in your class, put that on your resume, right? I think a lot of companies would like to see that. Another thing as well, too, I think going back to the question about something you wish people, or I wish I took more advantage of, is the Career Center. If you go to the Career Center, they give some pretty good resume advice, and they have a lot of connections to reach out to people. I think LinkedIn is great as well, too. If you don't have a LinkedIn, get it. I know someone was saying earlier how they hated it. I really disliked it as well. It's kind of gross at times, but it's definitely like a way to really sort of find people who are in your field and network with them, right? Like you can talk with, say if you want to work at NASA like Kenzie did, like you could find people who work at NASA and you could talk with them and be like, hey, what would you do if you were in my position? And they'll give you probably a better answer than most of us can for whatever you're specifically applying to, right? I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people don't take advantage of, especially freshman year, right? Don't be afraid to like message people too. Like that's the biggest thing I would say. Just like maybe take a shot with just talking with people and asking them what you can do better, right? I've talked to people who worked at Blizzard, who worked at Google, and who worked at like Looker as well, just through like informational interviews on LinkedIn. If you like find Santa Cruz alumni and just talk with them, because slugs always helping slugs,
Also, I know the BSOE newsletter always has internship opportunities and hackathons and stuff like that to get into. So definitely make note of those opportunities. And also, I think this kind of ties into like imposter syndrome in terms of like, if your friend has done like 3 side projects over the summer and you're like, well, crap, I need to get something on my resume, like, get something on the belt, don't do it because somebody else is doing it. I mean, if you are interested in it, then cool. You have somebody else to like ask for like tips and pointers on, like, oh, hey, how'd you get about doing this in your project or whatever. But again, don't make someone else's goals your own goals. Just do what you like to do, because that's what's going to end you up in a job, in a career that you enjoy. Like everybody says, when you're working, when you're doing something in work that you love, it's not really, you don't see it as a job. You see it as like, something that you look forward to going to every day. So, yeah.
Awesome. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
Don't be scared to join a hackathon. That was me this freshman year. I should have joined, in my opinion. I can regret it, but if they have the chance, just do it. Just go at least. It'd be fun. You get to learn, like meet new people, learn new things, which I think would be cool.
Also, at least for my experience in cruise hacks, this is kind of not related, but the prizes for competing are kind of good. There's no point not to try. I don't know.
Can I use you guys' 3D printer, please?
Yeah, me and my group, we won a 3D printer last year at Cruise Hacks. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, some prizes are like really big too. I went to Tree Hacks. That was a Stanford hackathon last year, and I think their like grand prize was like basically it was literally just like $5,000. They were just like, yeah, you can like just get like cash. So yeah, a lot of the times it also gets you big like company clout too, because if you're there like using say like AWS or something and Amazon is sponsoring, they're gonna be like, oh, we got an AWS prize, right? Kenzie asked, no, I think they only hold cruise hacks. It's like in spring, or it's like February, I think, right? February or January, every year. I don't know how they're going to do it this year. I know there's been a lot of other hackathons happening over the summer. They've been doing it like a week-long hackathons, which is like 24 hours, which I think is kind of cool. But I don't know if Cruise Hacks is going to be doing that too.
I will back them up on back everyone up on the cruise hacks or going to hackathons thing. I'm not a computing major at all. I'm a business major and an environmental studies major, but I just go because it's fun and I get to kind of be the cheerleader for everyone while everyone's like crumbling and drinking like Life Aid and eating Panda Express. Like that's my job. My job is to annoy people into continuing to work. That's always been my position. So yeah, I guess we'll move on to our next question. We've talked about this a little bit, but maybe there's some other stuff that we could hit with this, especially because of like COVID and remote stuff. So networking with like, first off, let's say like, what does networking mean? And then what does networking look like for computing majors? And how has that changed with the advent of the Rona?
Okay, I network a lot. It's kind of like, I don't know. My mom, she like pushed me to make a LinkedIn when I was in high school, and I was like, why couldn't you make a LinkedIn? Like, it's kind of stupid. Like, just social media. She told me like connect with like 10 people, like a year, I think, and I was like, no way. That's like terrifying. I couldn't do that. But I mean, like I've totally like flip flopped now. I think like you can get a lot of opportunity through it. But like honestly, you don't even need to use it. Just kind of like go ham with talking to people, right? I think you really just need to sort of bring a positive attitude towards talking with other people and kind of like no fear of rejection. Like I like to think of networking as sort of like dating, right? But you're dating for a job. You're not really like there, you know, everyone's kind of just like trying to feel out what things are. Like when you're trying to go talk with recruiters, you want to see like if they got a good work culture behind them, like what benefits they have, etc. Like could they interview you, things like that. You know, it's kind of like you're asking them out for something like that. But it's in a more professional sense, of course. I don't want to endorse trying to date recruiters or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying more so just try and, you know, kind of go into it with an open mind and really talk with recruiters like they're people, you know, don't really feel intimidated when reaching out to people. Like everyone loves, like we said, professors earlier, everyone loves to talk about their things they're working on. If someone's working on something at like Google, if someone's working at like some, you know, if they're a little startup in Santa Cruz, reach out to them on their websites, right? Things like that. I think it's just a thing that's really kind of overlooked, especially if you're like early on in your career in education. People don't network a lot, and I think like someone said earlier, one of the regrets was not networking earlier, right? Try as hard as you can to talk with as many people as possible, not even just like recruiters too, other students. Like I know it's hard now, but like I said earlier with the Discord, just go hard with like talking with people, and you may find people you like, may find people you don't like, but no matter what, college is like full of opportunity, and those doors are everywhere, right? Just talking with random people, like I've talked to people just getting coffee in like McHenry that have like opened up club opportunities or opened up possible like internships or things like that, interviews for things, right? Like you're not gonna have that same experience now online, but I think you can definitely push to cold email or cold call people, cold message, just DM people about whatever, right? It's kind of anxiety inducing the first few times you do it, but after you get over that hump, it's like easy peasy. Like you can talk with the CEO of a company and be like, no big deal, right?
I want to add, I know we were talking about like cruise hacks and events like that. I know that companies go there and you can meet recruiters. Same with that, like, like the job fairs and those kind of things, keep in touch with those people, because sometimes they might not have offers or opportunities or anything like currently, but a couple of months down the line, stuff might open up. I know some friends who have done that. Same with recruiters. If you had a previous internship, sometimes they can help out with not only the company that they're at, but others. And then even friends who've gotten past internships as well, they can do referrals, and it kind of gets you one step above. Like they'll look at your resume at least, which sounds like not that much, but it's actually a huge advantage. But yeah. Also, me and Zainab are gonna have to drop off, but thank you, everybody. I hope it was helpful.
Of course, thank y'all so much for being here.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
All right, bye.
All right, now Megan has
I just wanted to add a little bit, but like they were saying about people with internships, even like TAs and friends that are upperclassmen who have graduated and are working at jobs, they could also just talk to their supervisor or talk whoever is above them and say like, hey, I have this friend who's in this class and I tutored them and they've done this and this, like, can I give them your resume, or can I give you their resume, and you can get direct access there too. So that's why it's really important just to put yourself out there and talk to people. Like, I'm not the most, I'm pretty introverted, so it just takes just one message saying like, hey, do you want to study together, or can you help me with this question, and pretty soon you're like, hey, we have a group chat, do you want to join the group chat and study? And pretty soon you're studying with them the whole year or that quarter, and you guys just keep in touch. It's just really about just making connections. That's what I've heard gets you the most opportunities, is not so much just the applications, but it's who you know. Definitely just who you know to get you get you up where you want to be.
Yeah, so I guess if that's all we have for that question, we'll move on to our last question for the night, and I guess we might wrap this up. So, all right, so how do you find internships, and what have y'all's experience been with recruiters and the internship process? I know the internship process is sometimes can be 3 steps, can be 7 steps, depending on what company you're going for. And where do you find these internships? Because UCSC emails are always super susceptible to phishing from Cisco and things like that.
Yeah, so I most of the places that I've applied to are all on LinkedIn. Just going on the jobs tab, right? Or just straight up Googling software engineering internships. I was lucky enough to get return offers. I had an internship after my freshman year, and I got return offers from that. So if you can, I would definitely bank on that. Being able to get return offers is a huge load of stress off your shoulders, because then you can just ignore applying to internships again for the next year if you want, because you can try and come back and hopefully roll that into a full-time offer. But I think LinkedIn, especially now, is probably the best way to go about things. I haven't used Handshake too much. I don't know if Handshakes is advantageous, but I know the most active place is LinkedIn, and that's where I've gotten the most responses from. I think that Handshake, there's a lot of recruiters that kind of reach out through there, but I've never really had any luck with them responding or really having any leg up versus LinkedIn. I don't know if anyone else on the panel has had different experiences than I have though.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. LinkedIn, as much as I despise it, that's one of the best things. It's if you follow companies, or even if you just be oh, give me job alerts for software engineering internships, it'll just give you daily alerts or whatever alerts you want. Another thing I think is a really great way to meet recruiters and stuff is career fairs, school sponsored career fairs. There was one recently, and it was virtual, so it was really easy to meet one-on-one with a recruiter. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. I think Basket and PSOE students get emailed automatically when they have those and stuff like that. So Yeah, those are also a great way.
Yeah, and I would say, like I said, I applied a lot through the NSF, the National Science Foundation, through the REUs. So you work with other universities. So the professors that you work with might be able to help you look for opportunities that, maybe they've had students who they've helped, connect with companies, and you could also talk to them too. And like Zach's saying, just look up, like computer engineering jobs, software engineering jobs. I even know, like, I think Walt Disney has internships, like the Imagineers or something like that. They have, internship opportunities for like back end stuff and, working with, web development and whatnot. So, I mean, the internships, especially with this field of like, CS and E, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of opportunities to get involved because tech is everywhere now. So it's just a matter of finding them, putting in the effort, like take a day and make a list of all the internships that you want to find and what you're interested in. Make a list of like when they're due, and then just work through that, just kind of get the mindset of, just getting those done and getting them out there as many as you can, because it really is a numbers game.
Awesome. So I think with that, I think we might be good to wrap up the stream. I'll do a little flip through of what we've made together here. So yeah, as y'all see from the title of the stream, we're doing Scorpio sounds because November is my month. So we're doing a Scorpio themed bullet journal thing here. So this is our cover page for the month. You can see the entire constellation of Scorpius. I should also show my Zoom friends. So yeah, this is what was happening while I wasn't looking at the camera at y'all. We did a little quote page, Scorpio season, and then our November at a glance with Election Day, Veterans Day, my birthday, and Thanksgiving as our main events for the month. And then here we have like my habit trackers, and then I made a whole bunch of like brain dump pages, which is where I just put random notes, but it makes it feel more organized because it has like a home. And then from there, to tie into the whole Scorpio theme, we've made a Scorpio Sounds playlist, which is in the description, and there's also a collaborative playlist if anyone wants to contribute to that, so we can all listen together. So yeah, that's what that looks like. And then finally we have my weekly spread, which is where I'll be putting my notes for the first week of November. So there we go. And with that, I think we're ready to wrap up the stream. Thank y'all all so much for being awesome panelists. Thank y'all for watching this. Have you had a couple concurrents? Yeah. So yeah, before we go, is there anything that y'all want to plug before we leave? There are links in the description also of stuff that our panelists wanted to plug and resources for computing students, like how to build a killer resume, all of the stuff from Pitt, like their internship finders, interview questions, and all the like. So if anyone wants to take away the plugs.
Oh, I wanted to plug Notion, or like just in a way to like organize your applications for things is what I've used, honestly, and it's helped like a ton for just like keeping track of everything. I can like show what I've like the whole application thing that I had set up and like how rough it was kind of. Can I share my screen, Megan? Is that okay?
I don't know if it'll come up because it's
that's fine. That's okay.
The way OBS
yeah,
interacts
but
with Zoom.
Don't worry about it. But there's it's really good for tracking internships, I think, and just making it easy to apply because you can like link your current resume, your cover letters, so you can just easily like click them there. You can have like a whole like section just to copy and paste for job applications too. There's also one other thing. I think it's the ATS this resume test. There's someone who posted on Reddit somewhere. It was like, is this a jobscan.co? No, there's something else. If I can find it, I'll send it. But there's someone who like made like a website. They scan your resume and see how readable it is for like, you know, keywords and things, and shows what it gets picked up on when you apply for things online.
Also, if you want to plug clubs, that's cool with me too.
Oh yeah, and if you guys are interested in data analytics or business development, I'm president of an org called Gesher Group. If you guys want to go check our website out, I think Megan has the link, or she's looked at the chat or something.
Yeah, it's in the description.
She's a part of it as well. Megan can talk about it. But it's a great place. Honestly, I have met so many like really smart and talented people at Gesher Group. Like, I recommend applying or coming out in spring. We're always looking for more people, especially more CS majors too, because we're trying to grow our like data analytics sector. We're trying to sort of build products for people that they can use. I think this quarter we're working with Hilton, and I know the team that's working with them. They're trying to build basically a data scraper for them to sort of update like Airbnb trends, like Expedia trends, all these travel trends to see if they should keep like certain hotels open or not. It's kind of cool stuff. It's definitely, if you're looking for experience, a way to get some experience too before kind of applying your resume or applying for internships.
Funny you mentioned that, because I'm on that project.
Wow, crazy.
Wow, crazy. All right. Arjun.
If anybody's, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say if anyone has anything else to plug as well.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in like satellites or space, I'm part of the SlugSat club. It's a new club. It was a senior design project for ECE majors, but this summer I worked with 4 others and alumni to make it into a club. And we do have, we're starting up with meetings, and we're doing meetings with on certain parts of the satellite, like, you know, the hardware, the software, the onboard computer, so on and so forth. So if you look up just SlugSat UCSC, you'll find it. I can copy and paste the link in here. But definitely you can join the Discord. You can join the Discord, and we post when we have meetings coming up. We already have recordings of all the other satellite departments, I guess you could say, recorded, where we kind of discuss a little overview of like what we've been doing so far. I think this is like their 4th, or this is like our 5th year now, or not ours, but this is the 5th year that they've continued to add to the satellite. And so we're starting to make it into a club so that others can get involved. You can definitely start by reading like documentation and see, you know, what you're interested in, and then definitely reach out to the alumni that used to work there, who might have graduated now, but they're still there to help explain some things to you about the documentation and whatnot. So definitely check that out if you're interested. And I don't remember what our next meeting is. It should be coming up, but definitely if you're interested in that sort of thing, that'd be a really good opportunity to get involved. So check it out.
I'd like to plug my acapella group. This has nothing to do with CS, like remotely even. I mean, a lot of us are CS majors though, so we can give you advice. But
Community,
if you sing,
it's great.
Community, dude, friendships, yeah. Like if you sing or you're just like super into music, you should check us out. Megan has a link, yeah. But
link is also in the description to Taza Tal.
Arjun, can you teach me to sing if I show up?
I don't. The audio quality on Zoom is just really poor. It would just be. If it was in person though, I'd love to. Like,
wow, one day, maybe one day.
One day.
Awesome.
If there are any College 9 Senates and you're interested in student government, check the Instagram below. It should be under College 9 Senate. Always fun if there be new people joining. We have a couple new freshmen, which is very exciting. I hope there's going to be more. So if you want to join, go to the link and it'll show some contact information for that.
Awesome. So I think with that, we're going to close out the stream. Thank you all for being my amazing panelists, and then thank you all for watching, and we'll see y'all around next time. Bye.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay, stream is over. Y'all can leave. I'm
Oh.
so that